Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Place in the Middle podcast. My voice is crazy right now. My name is Amy.
And I'm Butter, and today we're just gonna talk about I guess like housing and like the culture of living in a house here in Thailand
I guess just like family dynamics after you get married or like when you grow up.
when you get a little older.
Yeah,
Obviously, like it's traditionally it's the same. When you're younger, you live with your parents, right? Because you don't have an income, you don't have
exactly.
work, you don't have higher responsibilities yet.
hmm
Just do chores in the house and things like that. But what happens after you graduate from college? And usually in the States,
Ooh, I love this. Yeah.
from my friends, they're like, once you graduate, you're out of here.
Like once you hit 18, it's over.
Yeah. No, 22.
20,
21,
20,
22.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like so undergrad, like once they put you through college in the States, you're out of the house, find your own place to live, like make a
Mm.
living for yourself. Like we're done. It's like cut off
Yeah.
in the
Completely
States.
in a financial way, right?
Yes,
Okay.
financial way, and yes, not like in a relationship way, but
Yeah.
like now you're responsible, you're old enough, you have responsibility, manage yourself
Right.
and like go and live on your own. Like that's how
Yeah.
my friends like are like after.
Did they Okay, I have a question. Did most of like your friends, their parents, did they pay for college or they have to
Most of them paid for college.
like the parents?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so most of them paid for their college, and but then after they're like, okay, bye, like you're
Yeah,
good to go.
right. But I think the way that their society works is that um it's very different than ours because
Right.
like when we're in high school, like
Mhm.
for example, when we're like 14, 15, 16, in our culture we weren't really encouraged to work.
Right. There are actually not a lot of places
You
you could
can't
work.
like apply for work. It's
Yeah.
so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think like in the States, like in my experience, I know a lot of kids would be so excited to like go get a job
Right.
or even like part-time job,
Right.
right?
And the jobs that they could have is so much I feel like was so much more fun. If I could live as a high schooler in America,
hmm
like working at Sonic or like at a fast food place or something like that, I think I
Right.
would enjoy doing those things. I think it would be fun for a season.
Right. And you don't have to commit to
Right.
it.
But here that's not how it works. You don't see like a 15, 16
No, none of them.
year old at McDonald's, KFC, none of those
No.
places.
I
There's
think
no trainees that young.
that's true. And like I think because the society like doesn't encourage it,
Right.
so like all these workplaces are not open for that as well.
But also when you do part-time, and even back then, the wage per hour, it's like not even worth it probably for our parents to drive you there
That's true
to
because you're not legally you can't drive
drive
until you're
yet
18.
18. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so then it's like, is it even worth gas
that's
for
true.
your parents to come pick up,
Yeah.
And the wage was so little. I remember thinking like, hold on a second, like if this is how much you get for like a full day and we're just doing like a couple hours a day,
hmm
it's like you're barely gonna cover meal in Thailand.
That's true.
Like
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
barely.
I know that like because okay, in my experience, I
Mhm.
worked.
Mhm.
I started working when I was 16.
Mhm.
Officially like working
Mhm.
part-time as a ballet teacher assistant when I
Yeah.
was 16, but then
Mhm.
I got some training before that.
Uh-huh.
So like because I was already there, I had to
Mhm.
take a class on Saturday anyways. And so my principal was like, might as well just come and help us out.
Mhm.
And then I remember like getting my first paycheck and it wasn't even that much. Like it
Right.
was nothing, but I was already there.
Mhm.
And they actually I think during that time they pay for my lunch.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of like their bargain kind
Yeah.
of deal. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like at that point, I don't care about money.
Mhm.
Because I think I remember my boss saying like, don't you want more hours? Don't you want more money? I
Yeah.
literally was straight to his face. I'm like, no.
Yeah. I mean, at that time, it doesn't like
I'm a
your life
kid, yeah.
does not depend on money.
No.
Like
Mm-mm.
you, it's not like now where we're adults where our parents don't fund us anymore.
Mhm.
And so I guess coming back is in Thailand, usually you live with your family. Even some people, so even in college, but even I guess in America too, like if you live your family lives close to a campus, it just saves you money for to
That's
commute.
true.
But in Thailand, once you graduate from college, in Thailand, you'd move back into your um family's house if you go back to that city.
Yes, that's true.
But
Like,
only if you move, let's say you're in Bangkok and you finished university and your family lives in Bangkok, you got a job there, then it's like
you
then we
stay
move
there.
home. Then
Yeah.
we move back to your house. Only if you like, oh, my parents in Bangkok, but I got a job in Chiang Mai. Then of course it doesn't make sense. Then it would be like, yeah, you need to find a place there, get an apartment. But it wouldn't make sense for you to get an apartment in Bangkok when your family has a house there already.
Mm-hmm.
And that is another situation. Like
Yeah.
that's like a conversation. So, for me at least, that's a conversation we need to have
As-
over time
Right.
to go through that
Yeah.
because it's like it's why. Well, there's already a house
Right,
here,
'cause-
right?
I think they're in that way. It's kind of like, I don't know. The whole system is kind of like, because you don't work, there's no financial freedom,
Mm-hmm.
and which I mean, there's honestly pros and cons in both ways.
Mhm.
I feel like, and because like we're kind of expected to actually stay with your parents.
Right.
Honestly, I think in our nowadays is until you're married
Right.
and you move out.
Yes.
Usually,
Usually, the traditional way
right? Yeah.
is if you get married, that and like since we're girls, like if we got married, we would move
Move
in
into
with
a
the
guy's house.
guy's house. Yes.
That's true.
And if the guy is living with his family, his parents, we would move
Move in.
into their family's house, not like the guy's own personal house.
Exactly.
Unless he has one for some reason,
Yeah.
which
Honestly,
not everybody has.
I mean, in this economy,
Exactly.
girl, it's
Like,
so hard.
it's very hard. And the thing is, it sometimes makes more financial sense if the girl or the guy is okay
right.
to move into the parents' house.
Exactly.
There are pros and cons, right? Like you're gonna have to be like, are you on good terms with the parents-in-law
Right. Oh,
and
and
those things too?
okay, I didn't know this, but like in a Thai culture,
Hmm.
I think I've been so influenced by like American culture where I
Mm.
see my friends like dating their like boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever,
Yeah.
and they would get to know the girlfriend's or the boyfriend's family,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's I thought that was a normal thing.
Yeah.
It's not in our society.
Oh, really?
It's not like
Oh, I don't know
my
this.
like my fiance's mom
Mm-hmm.
refuses to meet my parents
Mm.
during on the time that we're dating.
Yeah.
The first time they met was when we discussed engagement.
Yeah. You told me that. That's
It was
really
I thought it was
interesting.
so wild because
It
like
is wild.
in my head I thought like we should get to know each other before we even make that decision of like let's get engaged.
Right. Like I feel like if I had a serious boyfriend, I would bring him over to my house, meet my family, and I would value their opinion, like
Yeah.
how this guy is. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I hope like we're in each other's families' lives. Like I
Yeah.
would be in his, like know his parents really well.
Yeah.
Too. And like his
Mine
siblings and
mine was
whatnot,
kind of
yeah.
one-sided. Like he knew my family so well. Like super well. He would hang out with my
Uh-huh.
parents without me, kind of deal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
See, and I want those kind of relationships. I feel like that's necessary. Like if we're gonna be in each other's lives constantly,
Mhm.
it should feel more comfortable, like we're about to be a family,
Mhm.
And so
But I think it's just values, right? Where
right values, and if it's not in the culture, like
it's not, yeah.
to like it's because you could view it in a different way in their eyes of just like, well, it's between you and your
Mhm.
fiance. Like, what does that have to do with me? Like, I'm not in your marriage.
Exactly.
So like you decide what you want to do. Why do I need to meet your parents? Like we're not gonna have, those things. But in our head, I'm thinking like, oh, I hope we have gatherings and like
Yeah.
together, like
Yeah.
both families, not just like
That's true.
but that's so not
It's so
That's
interesting
not
because like I think like
normal here.
it was something that I also had to navigate,
Mm.
and he was explaining to me that uh because they actually don't want like to meet first, and if we break up that relationship is strained, kind of deal. So I think they're
Oh,
like preventing that, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting, but that's almost like, well, what if it never happens? You're
Exactly.
preventing something that may or may not happen.
Exactly. So I was kind of confused, but I'm like,
But-
you know what? I respect like
I respect
your
it.
decision. I
Yeah.
can't really say anything much.
Yeah, because I don't know if I fully agree with it, but I respect it. Like that is right. You're saving yourself from more hurt,
That's true.
right? Like if you invest
Yeah.
in, you're like, what if I love this person? Like, oh my gosh, I love their family, and then it's like they break up. Crap, can I still meet with their
Family.
family?
Exactly. Yeah.
Which I totally get. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's something you need to weigh. Like, is it worth it? But our situation, housing situation, is very different. So I
Yeah.
moved 10 minutes down the road from my parents' house this last year. So it's been 1 year now. Actually,
That,
like, yo, like 1 year.
that's wild.
Yeah, that is wild. I can't believe it's already 1 year.
But I remember because last year when our one of our friends came to celebrate her birthday here,
Yes.
we had dinner
Uh-huh.
at the restaurant,
Uh-huh.
and then you were like we were kind of talking because I remember it was raining so hard,
Uh-huh.
and then you were saying I bought a house, and I'm like, what?
Yes.
Remember
yes,
that conversation?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Can't believe it's been that long. Yeah.
It's been a year.
I bought a house and I told them, sorry, I'm like, we were splitting the bill and I'm like, and it's like, there's a 0.5, like a 50 satang. And usually people round up. I'm like, can't round up. Sorry. I
Yep,
can only
can't.
pay 50 satang because I just bought a house.
I'm
Take
broke.
this. Yeah, I'm broke. So no. And the thing is, like, I think it depends on the family.
Mhm.
Because for me, like, I live in the same, like, my parents have a house, moved 10 minutes down the road. And some people are like, why? You know, like, why do you need another house?
What was
you know?
that? Why the question of like people around you or your parents or your family?
Well, I think they both. I think
Okay.
my parents, we had a long conversation about it, which is valid, right? Like that what they know is like, of course, if she's not married, you should live with us.
Yeah.
I'm not getting, you know, like I'm
Yeah.
not getting married. Like, what's the point? There's already a fine house here.
Yeah.
But I think growing up in an international environment and like seeing Western influence, I'm not gonna lie, like I came to a point where I needed more independence and more freedom to decide how I wanted that space, how I
Right.
wanted to, like, it's not a communal space anymore. It's my space, and I can invite whoever I want to invite. And it's not like we're in like a not like a dormitory, but it's kind of like that. We're like, hey, can I have this person over? Like, you need to ask the other people
Right.
living in the
Right.
house
Right.
to see if that's okay.
And I think you're at that age where like, hey, I feel like I should make this decision by
Right.
myself instead of asking, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
by the time I turned 30, it was when I was like, you know what? I kind of like before this, I thought I'm fine. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I love living with my parents, and like there is like it's just there's somebody all the time in the house, so it's not lonely. But then by the time I hit 30, I felt like I need more space. I need more space to do my thing, to feel, I don't know, like I think inside me just changed more, that I felt like, okay, I think it's time for me to move out.
Right.
And that was conversations that we had multiple times. It wasn't like a one and done and they understood it all, because that's not the plan that they had inside.
Right. I think that they don't have that expectation that you wouldn't have that conversation with them either.
Mhm.
Like I think they were just expected to like just go like with the flow of like, hey, just live here and not,
Right.
you know?
And that was the idea at first. Like,
Right.
I thought I was going to keep living there too. I'm like, why would I have to move? Like, this is perfectly good. But then it turned to a point where I'm like, I started dreaming of what I could have
Mm-hmm.
and like what I was no longer okay with.
Right.
Like, I love like sometimes I want to have friends over,
Mhm.
but I don't, sometimes to be honest, I don't want my mom to be there too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I want it to be a time where like me and my friends could hang out. And I don't want my mom to feel uncomfortable, like that she's not welcome in this space.
Right.
That
Because it's still her space.
it's still her space too. Like, we're
Right.
sharing space. So like I don't want her to be like, hey, can while my friends are here, can you like not be here? Like that, to me, that's so rude.
That's true.
Right? And so
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I actually need my own space so like I can entertain people whenever I want, and who can and cannot come in.
Right.
That to me was very important.
Yeah.
And so then that was a decision, and I feel like I have no regrets with the decision.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was really hard like process to go through, but
Yeah.
I feel like this was how, like, I have no regrets. I feel like just this 1 year is already worth it. Like,
Right.
getting this place for myself, and like having my own calm down space. And if I want communal time, I can go over,
Right.
you know, and things like that.
Yeah.
But you, on the other hand,
Right. So
there's
my
different-
situation is basically like so I went to college, I went to uni here,
Mhm.
actually. The first year I stayed in a dorm with one of our good friends.
Mhm.
But then like because I have so many activities going on from like work, from teaching, from church, from like a bunch of things, like you know, a lot of people like when they're a student, they're only a student and nothing else.
right.
But for me, I had so many hats I had to put on
Mhm.
that it wasn't feasible for me to stay in a dorm every single day, like every single
Mhm.
night.
Yeah.
So, for example, I would go back on Sunday night, like after family dinner. I would go back. My parents would drop me off at the dorm. I would stay until uh I think until like Wednesday night, my parents would pick me up at like, well, my mom would pick me up at Wednesday evening. I would go to cell group, and then I would stay over at my house. And it's kind of like you're going back and forth kind of
Right,
deal,
right.
which is kind of annoying, but like I had to do that because like I don't know if you know this, but like first year when you're a freshman in university here, you're kind of like it's a mandatory thing that you stay in their dorm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this applies for every single university in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like I kind of try to that's first semester, and then the second semester I wrote a letter to the dean of the student life. I'm like, hey, here's my situation.
Mhm.
Like I literally cannot, and they were okay with it.
Yeah.
Like so I got that pass of like, hey, I don't have to stay here. So I kind of stayed only for one semester, and then after that I moved back home.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time I moved back home, and then I just commute to uni, which is like 15 minutes, 20 minutes drive.
Yeah.
Which that at that point I got my driver license because
Mhm.
I got it quite late,
Yeah.
and I just commute. My parents
Mhm.
just like, just drive yourself, right? And then when I started working, whenever I went to college, I would come back to like stay at home. And I'm so happy with it too. Like I
Mhm.
love it. And I think it's because like my parents, there would be days that I would not see my dad's face
Mm-hmm.
because even though we were living in the same house, because like we would have our own schedule,
Yeah.
and then we kind of just like, hey, I'm going to this thing, but I wouldn't see him because by the time I come home, it will be late. He'll be asleep.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the perks that like living at home. Like my parents actually give me a lot of space
Mm.
to just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is with like inviting people over, I don't really invite people over. That's the
Mm.
thing. Like that's never really been a thing. Honestly, in Thai family, like you don't really invite people over that much.
Right,
Like your
right.
friends for sleepover is not a normal
thing,
thing.
yeah.
But I would go to somebody else's place.
Right.
So my situation right now is that this whole time I've been living at home.
Yeah.
I would go somewhere. I would live in the States for like 3 years. I would come back. I would stay at home. Like
Mhm.
there wasn't a question in my head where like, oh, I want to move out. I
Mhm.
think it didn't hit that point yet.
Yeah.
So I'm getting married at the end of the year, and this is where it goes kind of differently
Yeah.
because my future husband, my fiance now, is moving into my house.
Right.
It has to be the other way around.
Usually, in Thai culture,
Yeah,
the women would move in with the guy's family.
that's true.
Yeah.
Which that conversation is the conversation that my fiance had with his mom as well,
Mhm.
because she didn't understand it at first.
Oh, right, because
Yeah,
it's not a part of her
because
the
like
culture.
she has a piece of land for him that she was in her head. Her expectation was that she would like we would build a house at that piece of land, and she would also move in.
Right.
And then my boyfriend's like, heck no.
Yeah.
And then I think like that whole thing they need to figure out because
Mhm.
I think she got offended as well.
Of course.
Definitely, right?
Right. Yeah.
'Cause-
Because culturally, it's like, why wouldn't we live together?
Yeah, and like
He's the only son too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so
And
even more.
we are kind of expected to take care of our parents, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Right? But there also need to be that space
Mhm.
that we could also form a new family,
Right.
right? And yeah, I think it I don't know about their process. I know they talked, and it's like you said, it's not only one time because
Yeah.
like the first time she would get offended, obviously.
Right.
And yeah, I think like his explanation was that I want to live in a house with my wife
Mm-hmm.
and not a mom,
Right.
you know? And I'm like, that's valid,
Mhm.
but that's their dynamic they need to figure out.
Well, do you think that like because you're not moving out just the two of you, but like he's moving into your family's house and that's why she's a little upset?
That at that point we didn't know he was moving in yet.
Oh, okay.
So we also had, when that was over, we had to have that conversation with her that he's moving into my house.
Yeah, that must be hard too.
It's hard, but at the same time, like it makes sense because I'm like, he works in a company. I also like I'm like both of us are contracted like labor like workers.
Yeah.
So I'm like, with our salary, just to live,
Mm,
like just to save, it's
Right.
like is one thing. But I'm like, to build a house, we can't even afford that.
right.
Like
right.
it's not possible.
Mhm.
And like, I don't want to rent out an apartment either.
Right.
We live in a town where like there are high rises, but it's not really common to live in an apartment or a condo. Well,
Mhm.
I mean, for me at least back then, but nowadays it's more common.
It's more common now for young people if they're, I guess, if family is not close by.
It's true.
Like if their family is in a different city, I guess, and they moved here.
Yeah.
But I think more and more people, like in my neighborhood, I realized like when I started moving, I'm like, there's a lot of young people living in the neighborhood now, like
Yeah.
as a way of like investment, and like they're younger, like live with your younger, like my neighbor like met them, and they're like, yeah, I'm working, but my younger sibling's going to the university, and so that's why they got this house and they live together here, like that.
Yeah, that's
And I
fun.
wonder if it's like their parents like, this is a better investment than to just go rent a place out, you know.
Right.
And the thing is, for me, when I was looking at a house, I thought I wanted to rent too. That was the original idea, like let me just get a place of my own that rent it
Right.
out. Oh my gosh, it doesn't even make sense. Like you're paying so much more than if you just bought a
Bought a
house.
house.
And then at the end of buying a house, you get the house
That's true, and it's yours.
and it's mine. But I'm like, why am I forking out so much money to just rent? And it's like, this is the average cost, not like a luxury anything. This is like basic.
Basic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I
And
can
it
get a
doesn't
house-
even like when you go in, like it doesn't even look that nice.
No, it's just basic. And
Exactly.
it's just like, yeah. And so I thought I would be paying less to buy a house, like, and pay the bank, you know, and things like that. I'm like,
I think we had this conversation. You told me
yeah,
about this. Yeah.
because I just didn't understand. I'm like, wait, you know, because I thought the point of renting was so that you save money,
But you don't
but
nowadays.
you're not. You're
Yeah.
not saving. You just literally just giving out money.
I think this is reason one of our friends that lives in Bangkok
Mm.
that she bought the condo.
Right.
And I remember they decided that before they graduated or right after they graduated. And at that point I was like, oh my gosh, it's possible. Like I forgot about that part. You know?
Yeah.
Where
Like you can buy.
yeah, you're an adult.
Yeah, we're adults that we could take out loans from the bank and like make it happen. And I'm so shocked at myself sometimes. Like, you know, like I'm old enough to take out a loan from the bank, that I actually have
Yeah.
a job that pays.
I don't think like
You
I
know?
can wrap my head around how old I am.
Yeah,
I still like sometimes I still feel like a kid.
me too.
You know, like that whole like um trend where they said like I'm just a girl.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm just a baby, like I'm just a girl. It's true. Like I'm literally just a girl that are just trying to figure out life,
Right.
and like we don't know how to adult sometimes. It's hard.
We don't know how to adult, but like we're doing it. One way or
I
another,
know.
you have to do it. Like,
It's well, yeah, you kind of have to. It's kind of
but it's not like
it's
we're
hard.
failing at it.
no, we're
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Surprisingly, yeah.
surprisingly, we are like thriving citizens.
we're like exactly we're
thing-
figuring things out.
That's why I kept thinking, like, am I behind? Am I doing something that my generation, like, I'm like behind on? Like, I should be on top of these things. And I'm realizing, I'm like, no, actually, like, you're on top of things, like
Exactly.
in your own way. I mean, not that everybody needs to have their own house or whatever, but like,
Yeah.
as long as you get your stuff together,
It's not a race, right? Yeah.
it's not a race, and like you're not bothering anybody, you're not a burden to anyone, you have your life together,
and you're
like, in
responsible
own
for
way.
your own actions too,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Like, I think that's all it really is.
Yeah.
Like, you have that.
It's very interesting because like there would be people in your life that you would feel like they're way ahead of you and they're
Mm.
way younger than you.
Uh-huh.
Like I
Yeah.
have so many like people that are younger than me. They're literally building a house like
Yeah.
from scratch,
Yeah.
and like they financially can do that.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm like, good for them. Like,
Right,
and
right.
you know, like congratulations.
Yeah.
It's not something that like I don't think I have days where I mean I wouldn't lie, but like I would have days where I would like I wish I could have that.
Mm.
But at the same time, like I'm actually okay with where I am right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think as long as you're content with where you are,
Yeah.
no problem.
Right.
Right. But like, I think it comes a moment in life, at least for me, where I was like, the areas that I was comfortable in are no longer comfortable to be in, and I
Yeah.
have to start moving.
And I think that's just part of growing up. That's just
Mhm.
part of like you know, as human, we're not just we're developing.
You're right.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
And so, like, for me, like, now that I have a house, I can have like guests over,
Mm.
which I think is like so much fun. Not that I have guests all the time, but like,
you
like
have
said-
to have that choice.
yes,
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
I have a choice to like, let's have a movie night, and like the living room is not big, like my parents' house is big, but like we could like pull out like a blow up mattress and things like that and make it like a movie night. Like it is
Right.
what I want it to be.
Right.
Like my ice cream is filled with ice cream.
Right.
And that has been like a goal of mine. Like that's just what I want in my refrigerator, and I can have that.
Yeah.
Do you know, like
I get
that choice to be able to be like, I'm just gonna stock up with ice cream,
Yeah.
and who's gonna say like no,
Right.
right? Or like, oh, I don't need to be considerate of like my parents, you know, because like this is my refrigerator now.
Right.
But if we did a communal one, I'd be like, okay, there's other people's stuff in there that I can't fill the whole thing up with ice cream.
Right. You can't get rid of it either.
There is a like, yes, you have to think of other people when you live with them, of like, okay, this is
Exactly.
a communal space,
Exactly.
you know, but now it's like, this is my space. I can do whatever I want. And
Exactly.
it's so,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm really enjoying it.
That's
I
good.
think it's like that stage
Yeah.
where I like it.
Yeah, I'm actually not moving into my own room.
Mm.
So I'm actually moving into my late grandma's room.
Well, tell them first like how your like house is set up though.
Okay,
'cause
so
it's a little different.
downstairs just all communal space, right? And my dad he runs a clinic, so in front. But then upstairs, I would have my own room, my parents' room, my brother's old room, because none of them are living here anymore.
Mhm.
Like one of them is in the States, the other one has like their own house.
Right.
And my grandma used to live with me when she was still alive. And then once she passed away, that room was like she has her own bathroom, she has her own like kind of corner.
Yeah.
So that's the room that I'm moving into.
Mm.
Yeah. And like it works. It's not that big, but it's enough to like live.
Mm.
You know, and that's not our only room. So basically I'm actually not moving any of my clothes and nothing. I'm not moving anything.
Yeah.
So my old room would become kind of like my getting ready space.
Yeah.
I would
Which is
still
nice.
need to walk.
Mhm.
Honestly, that conversation, my fiance like still didn't understand. He was like, "Why would you? So would you have a shower in one place? You walk back here and you go back to our room?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but if I move everything in our room, you won't have any space to
Right,
put
right.
any of your stuff."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "It's not possible." But the thing is, because he works in a company, like he will be gone like 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
Or even earlier than that. So he's not really there, but at least at the end of the day, he would have a space that he could be himself.
Mhm.
So that part of like the house, like my parents would not touch, like they would not even go in.
Okay.
Yeah. But then I also have a downstairs where it used to be kind of like a not a guest room, but kind of like a welcoming space for what do you call it? ห้องรับแขกอะ?
Living room.
Yeah, okay. We have this one room, and I guess this is also a Thai culture thing where it's a space where if guest comes in, this is where it's kind of like a reception room kind of deal.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So it used to be that space, but because there's only 3 of us right now, I actually clean up that space and I use it as my office.
Mm.
So that is also going to be like our office that we could put our things in. So we would have like several rooms in the house.
Which is nice. Like I'm glad your parents like gave you that freedom to like, hey, take some of these spaces,
Yeah.
like for you two to have,
Yeah. My dad was like, do whatever you want.
which is nice.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like I think whatever works for each person, like as long as you can communicate
Exactly.
clearly
Exactly.
with the people of like what you need, and if you need to live with them like clearly, like how we're gonna do how to make it work,
Mm-hmm.
then it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just communication as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just being open to like new ideas that is not what is expected, which is like it's a hard conversation to have. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's hard to challenge and like a tradition, what's always been done.
Exactly.
But just because it's always been done doesn't mean it's a good fit for people.
Yeah, it's not it's not a cookie cutter.
Yeah,
where-
and it's not like right or wrong situation.
right. Yeah.
That's why it has so many conversations around it.
Yeah.
Because like now my needs are not met.
Right.
And like, you know, stuff like that. Like if my needs are not met, how do I communicate to them? Like they're not wrong. It's just like I need to figure out how my needs can be met if it can't be here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I
But
love
like
that.
it is way harder said than done.
That's true. We can all talk about it and then we're gonna cry about it later, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's way harder. It's feelings are hurt. Like, you know, I think it's something much deeper rooted than just like why do you need to move out?
Exactly. It's not that. There's so many underlying conversations
Yeah.
you need to have. Yeah.
Right. But I'm glad we're in the situation we're in. It's a totally different situation, but it's
Right.
working out for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, you guys. I hope that you enjoy that episode of us talking about challenging traditions and our living situation, how it's super different for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess we'll see you next episode.
All right. Bye.
Bye.